Brothers and sisters, misses and misters, welcome back to the Dented Cans show, the show that never ends. My friends, my name is Dobie Maxwell. This is Max Baumgartner. We are Max and Dobie, and we are talking today about the D word. The D word is...
Dallas.
No. Dallas, Fort Worth, DFT. Yes. Damage is the word today. Nobody here watching would happen to have any damage or memories of pain and suffering and discomfort in their lives, would they?
I think literally within 5 minutes, we had figured out that both of us had damage.
Everybody in their life gives off a vibe. There just is. And a lot of times, I had a friend that was blind in high school. Very good friend, and he could read people. He could feel vibes, and I think we all have that ability. Sometimes we don't focus on it. I knew that I had a kindred spirit with you in 5 minutes. You knew it with me. A lot of lovers say I knew she was the right one at that time. Damage creates a vibe that is not pleasant, but it is identifiable. It goes back to some very early memories. I think our earliest memories. Do you know the first time that you felt damage in your life?
Yeah, I think all the way back to like grade school, when my mom and dad were really fighting. My dad was abusive, and some neighborhood kids knew about it, both verbally and physically at the time. Alcohol fueled rages, and so I don't know that I've ever gotten rid of that pain and shame, the damage that I had from that. Number one, it's terrifying when you're a child, 8, 9, 10 years old. It's terrifying because you can't do anything about it. You can't escape it. I remember sleeping with a BB gun, and you think, you look back at that, you want to laugh, but I had it cocked, so I had one in the chamber,
Was it a Daisy air rifle?
Yeah, it was Daisy, yeah. But I had that right next to me. When you're sleeping with a BB gun... There might be some damage going on in your house.
Were you going to shoot the boogeyman or your dad? Who are you going to shoot?
Whoever I had to. I was going to come out blazing with the BB gun, cocking it every time and firing one, but I did.
I was about 3 or 4 years old. It was one of the earliest memories that I had. I was raised by my grandparents, my father's parents, and my grandmother was icy cold German. My grandfather was a Russian Jew who never lived in Russia and never practiced Judaism, but that was his background. And they got together. We all know how well the Germans and the Jews hit it off in history. So my grandma's German, grandpa's Jewish, and they just fought like cats and dogs. And there was a vibe there that I didn't necessarily feel. My grandpa told me later, he said, your father was in such bad shape, and you were going to go to an orphanage, and I didn't know where you're going to go, and I just felt it. I owed it to you, being the innocent kid in that situation. You were in a bad spot that I had to do something I wanted to raise you myself. And I don't think Grandma was too much in on it, but it helped keep their marriage together a little bit longer. They got a divorce later, but that's another episode, another story. But Grandma said, and I'll never forget this, we are not your parents. We're raising you. And if you do something bad that we can't raise you, we're going to send you somewhere. I remember it's one of my earliest memories, 3 or 4. How far back can you think? Maybe I was 5. I don't know. But it was way back, one of the earliest memories. They sat me down. Both of them were there at the kitchen table. And I remember thinking then, it's like, well, why would you tell me that? And what's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? It immediately I put the blame on myself. Well, kids do bad things. I didn't know. I was separated from my siblings. It was just me and them, the 3 of us, in a very tumultuous, angry, angst-ridden, tense-filled house. And if you do something bad, well, what's bad? You didn't say, there wasn't a list saying, here you go. If you crap your pants, if you do come back after the streetlights come on, we're going to send you somewhere. So my whole life I'm thinking, where are they going to send me? Why are they going to send me? What am I going to do? And little did I know, that started affecting my thinking and taking me off whatever path is straight from my earliest memories. I didn't know it then, but I sure know it now. That's damage.
That is damage.
Yes.
That is damage.
Yes.
I mean, do you carry that with you now? Where when she said that to you as a 5-year-old, do you still feel like you may get sent somewhere if you're not a certain way, even at your age?
I was sent to Catholic school in 7th and 8th grade.
Okay.
And I'm not bragging. I feel ashamed almost saying it. I was branded a gifted child in about 3rd or 4th grade. My grandfather could not be any more proud of me. They wanted to skip me from 3rd grade to 5th grade. They said no, because socially he'll have a hard time being with the older kids like that. But since then, all my friends have always been older. Most of the women that I've had relationships with have been older than me. And I was an old soul. I was old when I was young. You know what I'm saying? Some kids are like that.
I do. Yeah.
And that was me.
My daughter's that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not fun to be a kid when you're that, and especially to hang around the older kids. So my point is, the damage that was caused. They wanted to send me to a Catholic school. My grandmother did, so I wouldn't end up like my father. Well, I was nothing like my father. So to go to the Catholic school and to have to be under the regimen there and the damage, and they watched my grades. You know, my grandma would. I had pretty much an A average in school. Again, I'm not bragging. School is not hard for me. Everything else was hard, so please don't think I think I'm pompous or better than anybody else. That's something I could always do. Didn't have to do a lot of homework. I just could do that. And I went down from an A+ to an A in whatever topic it was. And my grandmother looked over my report card and said, hey, you got 6 A's. You went down in that subject, right? Down from an A+ to an A. That's damage.
That is damage, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I could never be good enough. She didn't finish high school. She married someone that was tumultuous relationship her entire life. She was filled with pain and anger, and she beat me like a rented mule. And as I found out, she beat my father and my uncle the same way to get her rage out. So I got to see where some of the dents came in our cans because it came down from her. I can only imagine what her life was. She grew up in a small town in Wisconsin, and she was a bastard child. Her mother was the town slut, and she was born out of wedlock in 1911.
Well, there you go.
In a small town in Wisconsin that was very Catholic, so the scarlet letter was huge on her. But as a 7-year-old kid or whatever kid you are in 7th grade, you don't see that stuff coming. And I could never please her, and she was just that icy bitch. And her and Gramps fought, and it was that 10. That's all damage, and it's all a vibe that comes out that is on us, and we take that out into the world. We're not good enough. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't get what I really want. I should settle for something less. Well, I'll just take in this crappy apartment. I'll just date this person that I really don't like, but that's probably all I deserve. And you take what they start and give yourself some stuff that you don't want, and you hate it, and you could probably choose differently, but you don't because you don't know how. That's, I think, the whole point of this. The damage is done, but there can be some healing, some reconciliation, some popping the clutch and doing it in another gear that most people don't realize. I didn't realize it until I was way later in life, way past where I should have been.
Don't you think, too, to draw from your experience as a professional touring comedian? I know there's a difference, right? So, I mean, you've toured the nation.
Coast to coast.
Right.
Man.
And, don't you think that in that world, most comics are damaged?
Absolutely. And I found out when I was there that I'm not the worst one. There's a lot of people that get into comedy that the assumption is, well, if the strangers like me, they're not dented like my family of origin, which they're probably worse, and they're at a comedy club to get laughs because they want to forget about their problems. And it's nothing like you think it's going to be. Just like, oh, I'm going to get married. I'll have sex every night, man. It's going to be, well, there's a lot of other things that you don't think of that go with the entire package.
Right.
And dealing with that damage, I think, has to come inward first before it can go outward. And I don't know about you. It took me way longer than I wanted it to. That I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to start. So hopefully we can start somebody earlier than we did on that inner journey to heal that damage.
Yeah, and choose to not give it energy, because like anything, and this will be a reoccurring theme as we work our way through topics in the alphabet. D for damage is this episode. But like anything you give energy to is going to grow. Just like if you go to a gym and you want to get bigger, you want to have bigger muscles, go in and talk to those huge people in the gyms. Mm-hmm. It's because they give energy to, and focus to making their muscles bigger. So if you want to give energy to your damage, and sometimes as a child, that's all you know. You don't know that you have a choice to not give energy to the damage. You don't know that. But as an adult, you do. So if you want to give energy to that damage, it's going to grow. It's going to be the thing that defines you, the damage. And I think that's what we struggle with as Dented Cans, because on one hand, we want to get better instead of stay bitter, like we say
That's our
so
mission.
frequently. That's our mission. That's the underlying mission for this whole thing,
Yeah.
right? But at the same time, it's tough. It's tough because the damage, it weighs so heavy on us sometimes. It has affected the way we've viewed the world from a very young age. And so you have to literally retrain your brain to not be thinking from a damaged perspective.
That's the point. The dents in the can are no fault of the can. The contents of the can are still good.
Right.
Just as good as any normal, functional can.
Right.
If that indeed exists. I think everybody's got some dents in their can. How deep and how many is the choice.
Right.
You know? And can you start dealing with it? I think there needs to be a community. You're one of the few people I can talk about. I have a cousin, Brett, who is going to be on this show at some point when I'm sure you have people that you can relate to it. He's totally a dented can in a family, but there aren't that many that are willing to talk about it as deeply and as freely. That's why I appreciate you, man, because if not, I just be going around being this bitter asshole. The older I get, the more bitter I get, and one day you put a bullet in your head and it's over with, and that cheats everybody.
And self-talk is so, it's such an amazing component of healing yourself if you're damaged. You have to self-talk. You have to self-talk. Otherwise, everything you do is going to be from the perspective of being damaged.
Do you not agree that it's good to self-talk, but it's also good to have it confirmed by as many others as you can? I'm not saying being a zombie and being, Tony Robbins says, example, my garden has no weeds, has no weeds. You can say that all the time. Well, if your garden has weeds, saying it is not going to change that. Mm-hmm. But there's got to be somebody, I don't know about you, I need someone to confirm it. Hey, I'm kind of okay, I think.
Okay, well, I think you're right, and the answer is yes, to answer your question. Mm-hmm. But I said this a couple of episodes ago. I'm going to say it again. Just imagine you're on the 50-yard line of Lambeau Field, and the voice that you pay attention to every day is being transcribed on the Jumbotron, and you're standing there. So it's unfiltered. So exactly what you listen to all day long is now on the Jumbotron in front of 70,000 people.
Look at the rack on her.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So
that would not be a good thing.
So that goes back to that point. Definitely you want to make sure you check it, because that voice that we all listen to inside is wrong a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, especially if you have emotional trauma, because you're replaying that stuff in your head.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we want to unreplay it here and put a new one. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Well, this is a little bit on damage. We may go back through the alphabet as we go. This is a new community. We'd like to have you like and subscribe if you can. And then go ahead and hit the bell too, because it'll let you know when a new episode is uploaded. So please do that if you would.
And in the comments, if you have any experiences of your own damage that you'd like to share and get out, we'd like to hear it. We won't make fun of you, and we'll heal and give you a cyber hug. It's just a starting point. There's lots more where this came from. We do appreciate you. We love you. We are the Dented Cans. Come back soon.